Hi, I'm Lisa Vann. I'm editorial artist from Seattle, Washington. I'm also a salon owner and an educator globally. One of the things that I wanted to really bring you today is something that is a great passion of mine, and that is avant-garde hairdressing. The thing that most stylists don't know is how much work and dedication and time it takes to get the looks from the wig store or the hair store to the client when you're doing print work or runway work, or even just doing fun within the salon and working with your team. So today I want to bring you some great tricks and tips on how to achieve some of these looks and the preparation that you go through to get the end results that you desire. So today I want you to stay tuned and enjoy some avant-garde hairstyling. I think the biggest key to avant-garde hairstyling is inspiration. What inspires you to do it? There's a couple of ways that I look at building and creating beautiful avant-garde pieces. One is what inspires me to get the idea, and that often comes from art. It actually comes from environment and also comes from other hairstylists in the industry. I see some really amazing, beautiful look from Vivian McKender, Nicholas French, Angelo Seminara. These are great names to look up in our industry to kind of see where their minds go when it comes to avant-garde hairstyling. My recommendation for inspiration is look to other hairstylists, but don't copy other hairstylists. When you look to other hairstylists, look at what they're doing and then go in to see what they were inspired by. A lot of times you're going to find it's from artists or paintings or nature. The other thing that I look to is who are my models? Who's lighting it? Where are we shooting it? Really getting environmental and also getting your team together to kind of know what they can bring to the table. A lot of my work is partnered with a photographer, James Chin, and also Andrew Deardahl, who does my designs. In some of my portfolio, you're going to see that we use from ice sculpting dresses to mirrors to sandpaper. Those are the wardrobe inspiration that I was given when we were coming up with collaboration to get some really great looks. When I go and do shows, we've done the Australian Expo, we've done fashion weeks around the world, then I look to a team of people, whether it's my designer, whether it is the producer of the shows, whether it's just a theme of the shows. We did a show at the Australian Expo that was all geared around elements. So we had water, fire, air, earth. And so each segment and each look that we did were designed by the elements. And that was a theme for the show. We also did a show that was around elephants, kind of banning trophy hunting in Asia and India. And so we were really inspired by the designers by creating looks that were inspired by elephants. And so we wanted to bring awareness to actually ban any type of trophy hunting when it came to ivory with the tusks of elephants. So you're going to get inspiration in many different ways. What I do recommend is not to take other people's styles and try to duplicate them. Come up with your own, be creative, and it'll be more exciting for you to have really original work. There's a lot of things that I work with when I'm doing avant-garde hairstyling. One is time. Time is going to be your friend. Give yourself plenty of time to build the pieces, make mistakes, refix those mistakes. One piece that I made, it must have taken me 6 months. I worked on it every single day for a couple hours a night after I got out of the salon just to get the results that I want. When it didn't work, I had to start over. So know that those mistakes can happen. For tools wise, I find that I go to a glue gun quite a bit. I mean, when you're building pieces, you might not look towards, I have bobby pins and elastics and curling irons and hairspray. You might have to go to unconventional things like glue. When I'm building avant-garde pieces, I often go to Home Depot or kind of department like craft stores to get some of my tools, because what I find is I have a better result of things lasting longer when I'm building them with other materials than just what I'd find at a beauty supply. I do often get large hairpins or large clips or even metal wire. I've used fishing line. So whatever is needed when you are creating something, you want to have structure and security in your piece so that can last. Because a lot of times it's being like walk down a runway or you're shooting it, and if it's falling apart, it's going to cause you great headaches. So you want to practice with these pieces prior to your event, and that way you know that it's going to hold up. So today I'm really excited to show you some really fun techniques in avant-garde styling. And as we move through the day, I will be talking about some of the tools that I used and some of the things that I did to prep the pieces prior to today, because I couldn't actually come in and start a video and not have 15 to 20 days to actually make a piece. So we're going to talk about how those pieces were made. We're going to talk about what products and what tools I used to make them. And we're going to have a great day of doing avant-garde hairstyling and being inspired by it to do it yourselves. One of the things that I'm very focused on is sanitation when I'm out working, especially globally. Being a global educator, I go into different territories around the world, and different areas require different types of sanitation. Before we bring our model out, Alexis, I'm going to actually put on my face mask. I use different ones. A lot of times when I use a different model, I will change my mask and apron out before my next model comes in. And then I'm going to properly sanitize my hands. And also to note, all my tools are sanitized in between model usage, and actually in the salon as well, we sanitize all our tools after every guest. So let's get started and have Aspen bring in our first model. So we're actually taking down the braids, and I'm gonna show you some fun anchoring that you can do with pieces when it comes to having cornrows or braids in the hair. I think one of the most important things that I find is, as an editorial stylist, knowing how to cornrow hair, because a lot of the big avant-garde pieces that you're doing are either sewn into the braids or they're actually pinned into the braids. So to me, learning how to braid was essential to me getting the opportunity to travel worldwide with some of the best editorial artists, because I could anchor a lot of the pieces that we made because I knew how to braid hair. So one of the things that I wanted to do first was just kind of show you, when you take the time and you start making pieces, it isn't just about the day of. It really comes down to making them weeks and weeks and weeks before, sometimes months before, because sometimes you have to kind of trial and error to get the result that you want. I had a request to make fur out of hair, and I also wanted to do it with a pattern, because I had this fabric that we were using for the model, and I loved having the idea of matching the houndstooth fabric to the hair that looked like fur and resembled fur on the head. So with that, I'm going to show you how we did it for the show. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin the pieces with bobby pins to the braids. Now, the nice thing about braids is that you have something to pin to, especially when it gets to be heavier. The other thing is, I like to pin if I'm doing a photo shoot, and if I'm doing a hair show, a lot of times I will sew, because the thing about sewing it in, we know it's not going to fall off. You have to remember too, if you're sewing in your pieces, then what can happen is you have to, if they have a quick change, like if you're looking at Fashion Week or something that they're in another show, what can happen is it's going to take you a long time to take this thread out and cut the thread out. So you want to make sure you have enough time to take down the piece as well as putting it in. The other is, when you're sewing in a piece, I recommend using thread that's contrast to their own hair color, so you can get it out quickly and you're not jeopardizing cutting into their hair. So I'm going to put the second piece in and just pin it in actually to the braid as well. And I do like to crisscross my pins when I go in, and I try to match. If I'm doing lighter hair, I try to match with a lighter pin. I try not to put too many hairpins in. Then I just want to kind of look at this for balance. And the nice thing about like this type of piece is you can kind of pull it apart and make it work with the hair. I'm going to take the little hairs that are falling and blow those off. Then I'm just going to take the fabric and just cover the pinning it underneath and just cover her own hair. Can you just pin that on your side so it just covers her own hair? And just pin it into the braid so it holds, because the fabric will be heavy. So I'm just having Aspen kind of do the same thing as just pin into the braids with the fabric. Fabric can be really heavy as well. So you want to make sure that you pin into the braids and also crisscross the fabric. Then you can come up. And then bring this here. So we're going to pin it all the way around to the hairline. There you go. And then you can just pull this apart as well. And you just cover your bobby pins. So sometimes it can be a quick change and have a whole different look and send them right back out on the runway or do another photo shoot if you have your pieces prepared and your plan prepared before you start the day. If I were to make these the day of, it'd probably take 3 or 4 hours to make each one. So again, if you have pieces already made, it's easy to do a quick change and have a different look quickly. And I love the idea of kind of matching patterns of fabric to hair. I think that's a great way to be inspired, and it's a great way to give another look and something that's completely different than what we generally go to as hairdressers to create an avant-garde look.